Imagine a battlefield so hostile that even the most seasoned Navy SEALs hesitate to breathe, a mission so classified that failure means vanishing without a trace. And in the middle of it all, a woman they underestimated, until she calmly polished a Barrett A50 caliber rifle and casually mentioned a record-breaking 3,247-meter confirmed kill. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button because what you're about to hear is a story of grit, betrayal, and a twist so shocking it will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty and war. The Afghan. Mountains were painted in dusk shadows as SEAL Commander Jack Rains reviewed the op plan under a flickering red light in the forward operating base. His team, Alpha 7, had been called in for an HVT extraction, a target so elusive the CIA had been chasing him for 5 years. Intel said he was moving through the Korangal Valley, an area notorious for ambushes and IED hell. Jack had seen it all before. The blood, the sand, the faces of good men who didn't make it home. But this time, something felt different. It wasn't just the silence in the air, it was the new asset they were ordered to take along, a civilian contractor, named Eva Marquez. On paper, she was a ballistics specialist, assigned as an advisor. Jack hated babysitting civilians. They slowed the team down, made them vulnerable, but orders were orders. When Eva stepped into the briefing tent, the room stilled. Not because she was stunning, though she was, but because of the aura she carried, calm and razor-sharp, like a blade honed for years. She wore no insignia, no rank, just simple tactical gear and a sidearm. In her hands, a Barrett M82A1 50 caliber rifle gleamed like a steel dragon. She set it on the table without a word, her dark eyes sweeping over the SEALs like she was evaluating them, not the other way around. Jack smirked and asked, "You know how to use that thing, or is it just for show?" She didn't flinch. Instead, she ran a cleaning cloth over the barrel, her movements slow and deliberate. Then she looked him dead in the eye and said, "I once held a record 3,247 meters. 1 shot, 1 kill." The tent went silent. Someone coughed nervously. Jack felt his gut tighten. That was beyond elite. That was near mythical range. For a moment, he wondered if she was bluffing, but something in her voice told him otherwise. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. Who the hell was Eva Marquez, and why was she here? The mission kicked off before dawn, the air biting cold as the team moved silently through jagged rocks and skeletal trees. Jack had his doubts, but Eva carried herself like she'd done this 1,000 times. She never stumbled, never hesitated. When the first contact happened, a burst of gunfire from a ridgeline, Eva dropped to the ground and deployed the Barrett with a grace that didn't belong to any advisor. Jack's radio crackled. 3 tangos, 900 meters, moving. Before the spotter could finish, Eva squeezed the trigger. The Barrett roared, thunder ripping through the valley. 1 shot. A man's head snapped back in the scope's view, and silence fell again. The team looked at her like she'd just performed witchcraft. But Eva didn't stop there. Over the next hour, she picked off targets with surgical precision, calling her own wind adjustments, calculating Coriolis effect, in her head like it was child's play. Jack started to feel uneasy. Not because she was good, but because she was too good. There was a rhythm in her breathing, a cold detachment in her eyes. This wasn't just skill. This was something else, something forged in blood and betrayal. At their overnight LZ, Jack confronted her. "You're no damn ballistics advisor. Who are you?" Eva smirked, her face half hidden by the glow of a tiny fire. "You ever hear of Task Force Ghost?" Jack froze. Ghost wasn't real. It was a rumor whispered in Tier 1 circles, a unit so black that even JSOC files couldn't confirm its existence. She leaned closer. "I was Ghost 7, until they burned me." The words hit like a grenade. Jack realized then this mission wasn't what it seemed. The morning of the 3rd day began with an uneasy silence. The kind that doesn't just whisper danger, but screams it in a language only soldiers understand. Jack Rains had been in enough kill zones to know when something was wrong, and everything about the route ahead reeked of betrayal. The Korangal Valley stretched like a jagged scar, its rocky ridges looming under a blood-orange dawn. The intel had said light resistance, maybe a few scattered fighters, but the movement in the hills told a different story. He could feel eyes on them, predatory and patient. As his team advanced in staggered formation, Ava moved with fluid precision, scanning the horizon like a predator herself, the Barrett slung over her shoulder like a warlord's sword. Jack's earpiece crackled, and in that split second, everything unraveled. A high-pitched scream split the sky. An RPG! Down! Jack roared as the rocket slammed into the path ahead, fire and shrapnel clawing at the earth. Before the dust even settled, gunfire erupted from 3 directions. The air turned into a swarm of lead and death. 2 of his men went down instantly, blood blooming on their camo like obscene flowers. Jack returned fire, heart hammering, but it was clear. They were boxed in. A perfect L-shaped ambush. He hit the comms for air support. Nothing. Just static. Jammed. That's when Ava dropped, not in fear but in deadly focus, her Barrett barking thunder. A man's head exploded at 1,200 meters, then another at 1,500. "They're trying to herd us into the kill zone," she shouted over the chaos, her voice sharp as a blade. Jack cursed and grabbed cover behind a rock. "You knew this was coming?" She didn't answer immediately, just chambered another round, the massive rifle kicking like a beast in her hands. When she finally spoke, her voice was cold steel. "This isn't about your mission, Commander. It never was." Jack felt his stomach drop as another SEAL screamed, clutching a shredded leg. He crawled to the dying man, dragging him to cover as Eva's shots cracked like judgment from the gods. "Explain," Jack barked, rage boiling through the adrenaline. She turned her head just enough for him to see the truth in her eyes. "They sent you here to kill me, Jack, and now they want you dead too." The words hit harder than the explosions around them. Jack stared at her like she'd sprouted horns. "What the hell are you talking about?" Ava slammed the Barrett's mag home and kept firing, dropping targets with impossible speed. "Ghost protocol," she said flatly. "You ever wonder why they needed a civilian on this op? I'm not just some contractor. I was Ghost 7, the CIA's Phantom Kill Squad, and now they're erasing the evidence." Jack's ears rang as an RPG detonated 30 feet away, hurling him into the dirt. Dazed, he looked up and saw Eva dragging him by his vest, hauling his weight like he was nothing. Bullets zipped past her face, clipping strands of her dark hair, but she didn't flinch. They dove behind a crumbling wall as another explosion shook the ground. Jack's vision swam, but his mind burned with a single thought. They were never meant to survive this mission. And if the CIA wanted Eva dead this badly, what the hell did she know? The night before the exfil was a hellscape of fire and blood. They'd lost half the team. 2 more were clinging to life, and the only reason anyone was breathing was Eva Marquez, the woman Jack had been ordered to distrust. Now, as they scrambled toward a shattered village at the valley's edge, a new horror awaited. A CIA kill team, ghosts in black, sweeping the ridgeline with suppressed rifles and night vision, coming to finish the job. Jack's chest burned with fury. He'd spent his life obeying orders, believing in the flag, but now that flag was trying to cut his throat. Ava crouched beside him in the ruins of an old stone house, loading the Barrett with calm hands that shook only from exhaustion. Her face was streaked with dirt and blood, eyes glowing like embers in the dark. "Listen to me," she whispered, voice low but fierce. "We don't run. We end this." Jack blinked at her, incredulous. "End this? There are 12 operators out there with drones and QRF on standby." She slid the massive rifle onto a broken windowsill, her motions smooth as ritual. Then I'll take out their brain. You keep us alive long enough to matter." He followed her gaze and froze. Their commander, a Black Ops colonel, stood on a ridge nearly 2 miles away, directing the kill team with calm arrogance. 3,000 meters, Jack muttered. That's insane." Eva just smiled, a ghost of a grin. 3,042, adjust for wind. She lay prone, her breathing slowing, the world narrowing to a single shot. Jack watched, heart pounding, as she made her calculations out loud. Humidity, barometric pressure, Coriolis effects. Then came the roar, a sound that split the night and rolled like thunder through the valley. The Barrett kicked, dust pluming around her, and seconds later, the colonel's head burst like a melon. The ridge erupted in chaos. "Move!" Eva barked, springing up as Jack grabbed the wounded. Tracer fire lit the dark like fireflies of death, and Jack swore he saw her smile as she racked another round and dropped their drone operator at 3,100 meters. They ran, bled, killed their way to the exfil bird, every step a war. By the time they hit the LZ, Jack had 3 mags left and Eva was painted in blood that wasn't hers. The Black Hawk's rotors churned dust as they scrambled aboard, but as Jack reached for her, she stopped. "I can't go back," she said, pressing a small encrypted drive into his palm. "Everything you need to burn them down is on this. Get it to someone who still gives a damn." Jack's throat tightened. "Eva!" But she was gone, sprinting into the night as the helo lifted, vanishing like smoke. Jack sat in the bird, bloodied and broken, clutching the drive like a live grenade. He looked down at the Valley of Ghosts and whispered her name. Weeks later, in a Pentagon sub-basement, generals stared in horror at the contents of that drive. Ghost Protocol was real, and somewhere out there, so was Eva Marquez, the sniper, who turned on her masters. The woman who had just shattered a kill team and vanished into legend with a 3,247-meter shot that no one would ever forget.